dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Justin Case. The Phelps community came together tonight to remember Gabi McCoy, who was killed Wednesday in an accidental shooting. Friends and family say the 16-year-old Phelps Hornet had a contagious personality that was present wherever she went. WYNT's Buddy Forbes talked with her basketball coach and one of her teammates who says the next season will not be the same.
Gabi McCoy was electric everywhere she went. From the basketball court,
she just had that personality,
to the community.
It's just hard going through here and just looking at all these little places, because down there at Hornets, I just remember times that we'd be going down there, we'd be getting milkshakes and stuff, just talking, cutting up.
She was always full of energy and a song.
She'd always say, "I wish I could sing," but that never stopped her from singing at all.
She'd yell at the bus driver, "Turn the music up." And as soon as the music go up, she'd start putting on a concert for us.
Now her loved ones are looking for a way to move forward without her.
And those are the things that you're going to miss, is seeing her walk through that door with that smile and that laugh, and she's going to be missed greatly.
The Phelps community joined together for a vigil Friday night to send messages up to Gabi.
It's like you've lost one of your own kids.
Fly high, Gabi.
Though they still aren't sure what to say.
It's a void that words just can't put into words right now.
Her teammates say the upcoming basketball season will not be the same, but they told their coach they will use it to honor her.
How they love each other and how they're going to play for Gabi, how that this season's going to be dedicated to her.
Because they will always remember who she was and will always be able to hear her song. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The school is opening its doors tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for counseling and will be designating a memorial outside of the gym for people to leave mementos in Gabi's memory. A Southern Kentucky murder suspect is still on the run more than a month after the crime. Nicholas Rucker is accused of killing his girlfriend Vicki Connor in the home where they were staying in on May 22nd. There's been several possible sightings of him, but police say it's a mystery where he is. They are warning people in the area criminals in Rucker's position are desperate to stay free.
We've seen over the years that they'll do anything, to stay on the run or to try to get away with the crime that they committed. And they do things normally that the average person wouldn't do.
Police say they believe Rucker is getting help from someone to stay away this long. Anyone caught helping Rucker will also face charges.
Finally quieting down. Things were very active earlier today, but it's starting to turn into a quiet night. Let's go to Live Pinpoint Doppler radar. A couple of showers and storms up just north of Moorhead and around the Ashland area, but everybody else, with the exception of a few light showers down toward Bell County, pretty quiet. That wasn't the case a few hours before now. We're seeing that showers and storm activity fire up there and start to die off. Lots of lightning when heavy rain with these storms earlier today. UVA-wise, you can see it there on the time lapse, but a beautiful sunset there in southwest Virginia after they got some floodwaters over there. And parts of Wise, just down from UVA-Wise's campus outside WYMT tonight. Pretty quiet, no major issues here. Some fog trying to develop into southern Kentucky. Williamsburg seeing a little bit of limited visibility. But remember, a lot of these sensors are at the airports on those ridges, so the valleys could be seeing some fog. Just be careful tonight. 83 degrees still in Louisville right now. 60s and 70s everywhere else. Warmest spot in our region is 76 up toward Ashland. Didn't get any rain up there today, so it's 7 degrees warmer up there tonight than it was this time last night. 13 degrees colder though in Jackson, Hazard, and double digits. Double digits there in those two locations, but everybody else doing pretty good across the state. 70s, 80s, a couple of 60s down to the south. The appcast for the rest of the evening looks to be partly cloudy and mostly clear, and temperatures eventually dropping into the 60s overnight. The rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Justin.
Brandon, thank you. Earlier this month, the Trump administration pulled back on the EPA's clean power policy. It instead allows states to regulate the power they produce. The change could be a boost in Kentucky's coal industry, but what impact can it have on mining companies that have already cut jobs? Miranda Combs takes us to one plant to take a look at the changes they are facing.
Those who run this plant feel like they're pulled anywhere the wind blows. Recently, it blew in their direction.
When you go out here and you see, these stacks, people don't understand that when you see those emissions come out, that's steam.
Kentucky Coal Association's Tyler White met us at Big River's power plant in Centertown, Kentucky. The plant was built on about 3,000 acres in 1984. We made a hot walk to the top for the best view. Here's the reason for our visit.
Just one more win for all Americans who live and work in communities where affordable, homegrown American energy sources like coal still matter a great deal. Another win for states like Kentucky.
Last week, the EPA did away with the Clean Power Plant policy, which was designed to control emissions with a blanket regulation across all states. Kentucky sued, saying it was unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court put everything on hold. And now, the EPA introduced the American Clean Energy Rule, or ACE.
What that does is it gives power back to the states and lets states essentially regulate how they produce and what their power mix is. This is a win, a big win not just for the coal industry, but a big win for America's energy dominance that we seek to maintain.
But over the past years, coal mines and power plants have shut down in Kentucky. This plant was demolished in Louisville after 61 years. So many have lost jobs because of the shutdowns in Kentucky, and meeting environmental regulations have cost Big Rivers alone about $500 million. Are we too far gone at this point?
No, we are not too far gone. Like I said, 30% of the mix, the nation's mix, is coal, 75% of Kentucky's. It will be that way for a long time to come. We just need to make sure that we're protecting that and understanding the value that this fuel source brings not only to the Commonwealth but to our nation.
Environmentalists disagree, saying ACE is a step back for both the climate and those who live near coal-fired power plants.
Obviously, I've seen the utility business change significantly over those 38 years.
Bob Berry worked his way up from janitor to CEO of Big Rivers. Here's his concern. Plants are built to last about 50 years, but every 4 to 8 years, when presidents change, so do the regulations.
We can spend all this money and then we have to go the other way, and then we spend all this money again and then we have to go a different direction.
That's why these stacks are symbolic of their fears.
We need to see some certainty in some of these regulations so that we can properly plan and do what's best for our membership and for our end users.
In Centertown, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
Local judge executives are in high spirits today after Governor Matt Bevin announced 100% of coal severance dollars will be given back to coal-producing counties. WYMT's Emily Bennett talked with local officials about what this means for this region.
After years of struggling,
it could be like taking them off life support. We're each functioning day to day, just doing the services that we can.
County budgets could see a boost.
Change without financing is just about impossible.
For the past 20 years, 50% of coal severance funds have gone to the state's general fund.
Harlan County, we used to receive $5-6 million a year in coal severance, and this past year we received about $1.5 million, if that puts it in perspective.
This left a big hole in the budget, and officials scrambling to find money for important infrastructure projects.
We use our coal severance money a lot to pay the debt for projects that were done before.
In the past, the money was put to projects such as volunteer fire departments, senior citizen programs, and repairs to water and sewage lines. In the future, Scott Alexander says he's looking to use the extra money to create even more revenue with grants.
We would look to try to turn the $1 million into several million, using it as matching money for the grants.
His main focus for the money, however, is jobs.
Without creating jobs, there's not going to be a tax base to fund the other programs that we need to fund.
He wants to use it as a recruitment tool.
We're looking at giving companies reasons to stay rather than just reasons to come.
And a reason to stay needs incentives. In Perry County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
The money will be given back to the counties during the 2020-2021 state budget. A big announcement was made in Lexington today. Governor Matt Bevin and Congressman Hal Rogers took to the stage, saying the first portion of Kentucky wired broadband network is finished. The loop stretching from Lexington to Covington down to Louisville is complete. The network will soon expand into eastern Kentucky, helping people in the area work remotely and find jobs online.
I don't want to speak to contracts because negotiations are going on, but people who are already in that community want to be able to have access to these rings and to the next rings that are coming. And there are people who are not yet in those communities that have expressed an interest in potentially being there as well.
After experiencing several delays and lawsuits in the past, the governor's administration expects the project to be completed in 2020. For 4 years, Kentucky 1428 in Johnson County has been shut down. This caused many people to have to take different routes to get to where they need to go. It has not only added extra miles to people's drive time, but also has affected business in the area. As the State Highway Department is set to begin fixing the road, many people are hoping this does not happen again.
Not just for this little business here, but for the cable company, for the other people living up here that have to run to town to get a gallon of milk. Very inconvenient to have to go around the other way.
The State Highway Department says it hopes to get the project completed within the next 3 months. The Pine Mountain Settlement School hosted a farm camp this week. Staff say the camp taught kids the impact farming has, from healthy eating to how farming helps the economy. Pine Mountain officials say the camp is a continuation of the mission they have year-round to teach kids how to be self-sufficient.
So basically what we've done is just revive the historic practices that have always been to some degree, but we're just trying to bring those back to another level.
The camp ended this afternoon with a mini farmers market where kids bought food from local farmers to take home. Love Loud Pike ended today, closing out a week of community service from local churches. To celebrate, members of the group gathered at the Pikeville City Park to offer free hot dogs to the community. Many of the Love Loud volunteers say the week was full of blessings. Kevin Mullins says the community feedback has been worth the week of work.
We actually have seen a lot of people giving their lives to Christ, so I could say that's definitely good feedback.
This was the 5th year of Love Loud Pike, and members of the Pike Association of Southern Baptists plan to continue the events next year. Coming up at 11, an avowed white supremacist who drove his car into a crowd of protesters during a white nationalist rally in Virginia has been sentenced. And a heat wave sweeps across Europe, how people there are dealing with record temperatures.
If you have outdoor plans this weekend, sunscreen, water, and an umbrella need to be part of them. The full forecast in a few minutes.